Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Lewis Speaks 2024, and today I want to talk to you all about battles versus sanctuaries. I realize that we all have different fights in this life, and many of us have to fight so many different things. We have to fight our flesh. We have to fight our loved ones for respect. We got to fight our coworkers. We got to fight these systems out here. We got to fight our landlords. We have to fight with our children. We got to fight with just so many different systems out here. We got to fight with our friends, and oftentimes the people that are charged with the responsibility to love on us and be our peace are the very ones who are just another battle in our lives, you know? And I realize that when you have more battles than you have sanctuaries and places of peace, oftentimes that will erode your motivation to engage with life, And I'm starting to realize that a lot of the spaces that I occupy, they're just another battle that I have to fight. And so I'm removing myself from these spaces. I've made the conscious decision to intentionally distance myself from certain people and certain places and certain spaces where I do not feel honored, where I do not feel celebrated, where I do not feel loved on, where I do not feel genuinely supported. If these people are just another battle that I have to fight, then I'm going to have to separate myself from them because I just can no longer co-sign my own destruction. I can no longer co-sign my own depression. You realize that you co-sign your own depression and your own destruction when you continue to attend spaces and you continue to associate with people, places, things that only want to tear you down. And sometimes, especially when it's family, you feel as though there's this obligation, this responsibility to continue to present to these spaces, and it's not. You have to learn how to distance yourself from the wounded energy of other people, because a lot of people, I've realized this, a lot of people, even family, are misery factories. They specialize in misery. And rather than take accountability for their misery, they try to project it onto you. They try to accuse you of not being enough, of not offering enough support, of not offering enough love, of not being present. And the thing about it is this: they're trying to project their own feelings of inadequacy, their own feelings of insecurity, their own fears onto your life experience. And because you reject that, and because you set a healthy boundary, and because you charge them with the responsibility of being mature adults, of accepting accountability, they want to sit up there and accuse you, blame you, distance themselves, engage in the silent treatment. And you're just to the point where, like, okay, you can do that, you're well within your right, but I'm no longer going to co-sign that behavior, and I'm not going to tolerate it. If that's who you want to be in the world, more power to you. I will not I won't participate with that energy. And so you have to set that boundary for yourself. You have to assess how many fights and how many battles do I have in my life versus how many safe spaces, how many sanctuaries, how many places of peace do you have in your life? The fights, especially as you age and mature, the fights keep growing. You got to fight for respect. You got to fight for relevance. You got to fight to be seen, because as you age, you become invisible to other people. And that's the truth. That's one of the perils of aging. You become invisible. People stop realizing that you have needs. They stop realizing that you are human, And so You have to fight once again to be seen. You got to fight with your families, fight with your friends. I realize that as I age, I start to lose more friends. I start to lose friends, I feel, because for many different reasons. For many different reasons. I think a lot of people are growing and they're developing into themselves, and they start to outgrow what you have to offer. I also think that you start to learn your boundaries. You start to learn what's good for you and what's not good for you. And you start to realize that the person's energy that you've continued to deal with is not really conducive to the life that you want and the man that you want to be in the world, or the woman that you want to be in the world. And so you have to distance yourself, you know? And what once may have been a safe space for you can sadly turn into yet another battle that you have to fight. And so as the battles accrue and the safe places, the safe spaces, those places of peace starts to dwindle and decline, you start to notice that you get depressed. You get sad by all this because you just realize that, wait a minute, I'm at a time in my life now where those sanctuaries, those places of peace, they should be growing. They should be expanding, not dwindling, but yet and still you start to realize that they're dwindling. And it's that imbalance. It's that imbalance that causes significant distress. And so the thing about it is you have to definitely work on replenishing, rebuilding, replacing those sanctuaries, those places of peace, those people that feel organically good. They feel naturally welcoming. You need to definitely lean more into that, because there's so many fights, as I mentioned before, that we have to fight in this life. So many fights. We go to the grocery store. We got to fight for the correct price on items because everything's mislabeled. We got to fight taxi drivers to take us places. We got to fight in restaurants to get the correct order. We got to always fight something. And so you need a place where you can just relax, a place of peace. I have turned my home into a place of peace. I have now grown to really love being at home, because when you're out in the world, it's just so many things going on right now. So many things. It's just chaotic right now. And so being in my home has offered me a launching pad. It's offered me a place where I can safely center myself and ground myself and really lean into my energy and really lean into my goodness, because I'm good. I feel good when I'm with myself. When I'm with certain people in certain spaces, I just feel unsafe. I feel like their energy is in direct conflict to my purpose. And so I definitely have to just avoid those spaces, and so I welcome being at home. I think I love home also because I can control the environment here. I don't have to deal with the random feelings of other people. I don't have to deal with other people projecting their own confusion onto my life experience. I don't have to deal with that. And I love that for myself. I love that. Trying to find people who are in alignment with your purpose these days is so difficult. And love, the idea of love, can oftentimes stretch you out so far that you forget who you are. We're taught to love other people and make space for everybody else's journey, and that's wonderful. I'm here for that. At the same time, when you constantly have to stretch and bend and conform your way of thinking to other people's life experience, it's taking you too far away from what you are and from what you know to be true, And so you are like me, I only want to deal with people who are in alignment with where I'm going in the world. and who I want to be in the world. I don't got time to always understand and overstand a person's dysfunction. I get it. You're wounded. I get it. You need healing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But at the same time, I got a life. I got a life that needs me to live in it. I need my life in my life. I can't continue to sit up there and use my life trying to help uplift everybody if I'm not present in my own life. And so this is what home is for. It definitely helps me to recharge my battery. It definitely helps me to get back into my life. Because people, I've said this in other videos, people these days need too much. They want you to be God. They want you to be the change that they're not even motivated to make. You know, so it's like they want so much from you, but they're not giving anything in return. So you have to assess, what are your safe spaces? What are your places of peace? Where are these places of peace for you? What are your battles? What are your fights? And begin to see which fights are, I would say, mandatory versus elective. Because there are certain fights that we don't have to fight. Certain fights that we choose to fight. Certain fights that are a reflection of our wounded state, you know? We choose to fight these. We choose to invite this chaos into our lives. For some reason or another, we are choosing to invite certain fights into our lives. So you have to really just assess, what's an elective fight? Something that I'm choosing versus a mandatory, you know? And then what spaces and what places offer me a sense of peace, a sense of community, a sense of genuine support. And I have to say the operative word here being genuine, because a lot of support these days is performative. And what does that mean exactly? In real time, performative support is when people have to get on Facebook, get on Instagram. They got to show that they're giving love. They want to offer you the illusion of support until it comes down to really providing those tangibles, until it comes time for them to actually show up in person or give something real, you know? Then all of a sudden the support dries up because it was never real. It was merely performative. So you have to identify those spaces and those places that are genuinely in support of who you want to be in the world and lean into those. And that's challenging. I wish that I could provide you with a roadmap to those spaces, but sadly, you got to figure it out through trial and error. It's one of those crazy things because everybody's always telling you, right? And this is why I get annoyed. Everybody's always telling you what you should do. You should find yourself friends that actually care about you. You should find yourself a community that genuinely, well, where is it? Where? I can say this, that in certain spaces of worship and places of worship, you might have a better chance at finding something that's more supportive. It's not 100% guaranteed, but it might be a resource you might try. It's an untapped resource. So if you want some genuine quality people, you got to definitely reach out in certain spaces where they value being good, you know? They value being honest. They value taking accountability, you know? And so I wish, as I said before, I could provide you with a direct roadmap to the person that is right for your life. But unfortunately, it's one of those things that you have to actually go through trial and error for. But what you can do on your end to get the ball rolling is, for one, start to assess what's going on within you. Start to assess what battles, what fights you have versus those safe, supportive spaces, and begin to make some needed adjustments. And really, and it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be very, very uncomfortable. So you're going to have to definitely practice self-care as you do these things. but you're going to have to actually take some steps, some action steps to remove certain fights and certain battles from your life, because sometimes it's really unnecessary what we put ourselves through. What we put ourselves through just to have love, just to have support, just to have someone call us boo, babe, just to have someone say that we're their bestie. It's unnecessary what we take ourselves through. And so you have to really, really start to assess the unnecessary battles that you're fighting and begin to just ixnay those battles. Just scratch them out, because you don't need that. You don't need that stress. Stress kills. And the thing about it is this: if you continue to sign up for elective stress, then you got to take some responsibility when it starts to hurt. So I hope this video was helpful. Definitely begin to assess what battles you're fighting versus those sanctuaries, and lean into those sanctuaries hardcore, especially right now, because we need sanctuaries. We need safe places and safe spaces where we can be who we are comfortably, and we can also be challenged gently and lovingly to be more. So I hope this video was helpful, y'all. Definitely share some of your experiences in terms of your fights and your sanctuaries. I'm definitely interested in hearing your perspective. All right, y'all. Peace.